Hi, Stage 2. Today for grammar, we're continuing on with, following on from our Tuesday lesson, which was about direct and indirect speech. Now today we're just focusing on direct speech and using the correct punctuation when we write that out. Now just a refresher, so direct speech was when we quote what someone says exactly. So word for word, exactly what they said, and we do that using speech marks or quotation marks. So here it says, indirect speech, use quotation marks to show what someone says. Now remember, this one here is our opening speech mark, and that goes before the first word that someone begins saying. And that one just there is our closing speech mark, and that goes at the end, so behind the final word that they say, including any punctuation marks. So the quotation marks go around the exact words said, including any punctuation. For example, I like chocolate ice cream, said Ben. Now remember we spoke about last week when we use direct speech, we always put a punctuation mark, whether it be a comma or an exclamation mark or a question mark, sitting in between the spoken and non-spoken word. So you can see there is a comma there where Ben says ice cream, and then he stops and the unspoken word is said, because Ben isn't saying said Ben. He's just saying I like chocolate ice cream. So the spoken word is ice cream and the unspoken word is said, and we've put a comma in between. Now, if the sentence was the opposite way around and Ben said was coming first, it would look like this. Ben said, comma, and that comma is joined to the word said. And then I'll put my speech marks in. I like ... and then close my speech marks. So if said comes before what the quotation is, what the direct speech is, then that comma joins to the word said and the speech marks don't go around that. It only goes around it if the said comes last. So in the first question, it says, underline the exact words the people say in these sentences. Now this should be pretty easy because you know that speech is put in quotation marks or in speech marks. So all you have to do, and I'll show you with the first one, is I'm going to identify what is being said. Where did you buy those shoes? Asked Millie. And I know that Millie is asking a question, and this is the question here. This is what Millie is saying. So I'm going to underline that. And I'm not going to underline asked because Millie isn't saying the word asked. So you can do that for B, C, D, E, F, and G. Next, in question 2, you're going to fill in where the quotation marks should be. So it says, are you coming to my party on Saturday? Asked Lily. So you've got to decide what words out of that are being said and pop the quotation or the speech marks around them. So remember, I have my opening speech mark, which goes before the first word that is said. And I've got my closing speech mark, which goes after the last word that is said, including any punctuation marks. And I have got a punctuation mark. I've got a question mark because Lily is asking a question. All right, so you can do that for B to G. Now in question 3, you are going to cross out any quotation marks that aren't needed. So if there's an extra one in there and someone's not saying something, then you can cross that out. In question 4, you're going to use a red pen to correct the punctuation. So remember, for this one, you're going to have to remember what I was speaking about up here about where the comma goes, or where the question mark or where the exclamation mark goes. And come down to question 4 and have a look and see if it's in the right spot. If not, you're going to cross it out and put it in the spot that it is supposed to be. So correct it. In number 5, we have a little picture, and the first boy is saying, are we best friends, Max? And the second boy is saying, you bet we are, Joshua. So you're going to now write that out as a direct speech sentence. So it says, Joshua asked, and it's got the comma there for you, so you don't need to worry about that. And then you're going to put in the direct speech. Then it says, Max replied, and it's once again got the comma for you, so you don't have to worry. And you're going to put in what Max replied, the direct speech. Next, in question 6, we've got complete the answers to the following questions. Don't forget the full stops and quotation marks. How many pets do you have? Asked Alex. Kelly replied, and you're going to make up, there isn't one there for you, so you're going to make it up. You're going to pretend you're Kelly, and what would you reply to that? And then do the same for B and C, but make sure you're putting in the correct full stops, quotation marks, and any punctuation marks as well. Now, that is 2 pages already. So that is 2 pages of punctuating direct speech. If after that you are running out of time, or that's just enough grammar for you today, then you can stop there. But if you want to have a little bit more of a practice with capital letters in direct speech, then you can continue with page 3. So it says the first word someone says in direct speech starts with a capital letter. For example, Oscar said, and then the first word that he's saying is please. Please pass the glue. And so the first word that he says, or that someone says, gets a capital letter. So you can see there the P is capitalized. All right, if the same person speaks a second time, the first word starts with a capital letter only if it comes after a full stop. So for example, my favourite food is pasta, said Meg. And then another sentence is started, and Megan, and Megan is speaking again, and she says, what's yours? But because it is a new sentence, a new direct speech sentence, it gets a capital letter for what's. However, in the next direct speech sentence, it's more of a compound sentence. We can see our conjunction there. So the sentence doesn't actually end, it just continues. And it says, my favourite food is pasta, said Megan, but I like fried rice. So we know that the first word that Megan has said is my, so we've given it a capital M. However, but doesn't need a capital letter because it is a continuation of the first sentence. It is not the end of the sentence and the start of a new one. So in question 1, you're going to tick the sentences that have the correct punctuation. Ravi said, my best friends' names are Max and Benjamin. So if you think that has the correct punctuation, you're going to give that box a tick. If you don't, you can leave it blank and go through with the next ones and do the same. In question 2, you're going to underline the word that is wrong and write it correctly. So A, these shoes need cleaning, said Miss Lee. Now have a think about what did we say about capital letters. The first word that someone says in direct speech starts with a capital letter. This is the first word. Is that written in a capital letter? It isn't. So that is wrong. So on the line, I'm going to show you what it is supposed to look like. And so you write down the correct way. And you're going to do that for B, C, D, and E. And then your final one is in each sentence, circle the word that needs a capital letter but doesn't have it. So you just got to spot the words or word that needs a capital letter. Some of them have one, some of them have more. So have a look. And that is all your grammar for today. So I know that 3 pages is a lot. If you can't do all 3 pages, just do the first 2 and see how you go. You might be able to come back to the third one later if you have time. Awesome job, guys.